Hey guys, so this is question 16 on your study guide, and we're just going over the last part of it, part D, with working out all the math. So for this question, you're just looking at points A, B, and C on the roller coaster track. I've already cut off the rest of it that you don't need off the diagram of the coaster. And you are finding the kinetic energy, the potential energy, the mechanical energy for all 3 points, and you're also finding the height for B and the velocity for C. So the formula you are going to use for this is going to be for kinetic energy is going to be the 1/2 mass times velocity squared. And for potential energy is going to be your mass times your gravity, which is going to be 9.8 times your height. And then your mechanical energy is just equal to your potential and your kinetic added together, right? It's not on your formula sheet, but you just kind of need to know that. So for part A, our coaster is just at the top. It hasn't started moving yet, and it's telling us we have a velocity of 0. So anytime you have a velocity of 0, your kinetic energy is automatically 0. You don't even technically have to work that out, right? That is a 0 there. So our kinetic energy is joules, because when you plug that 0 in for V in your formula, anything times 0 is 0. All right, so that's an easy one. For potential energy, you're going to take your mass of your coaster, which it gives us as 1500 times 9.8 times our height given to us of 25. You multiply all of that, you're going to get 367,500 joules. All right, so that's our potential energy. That's an easy formula to work with. All right, and then to find the mechanical energy, you would add 0 plus that 367,500 up, and that would be your mechanical energy. So in our case, it's just the 367,500 joules. Now, because of the law of conservation of energy, and we are considering this a closed system, the mechanical energy is going to stay the same for every single point on our coaster track. So that 367,500 is going to go for all 3 points. And if we were to continue on the diagram for points D and E, it'd also be the same. Alright, so that's finishes point A. For point B, you are given your velocity, so you can use your kinetic energy formula of 1/2 times 1500 times 20 squared. And when you work that out, you're going to get 67,500 joules as your answer there. Alright, so that's easy to do. For your potential energy, you're actually going to subtract because we're not given the height, so we can't use our potential energy formula yet because we don't have the height. So in order to get our potential energy, we can use that mechanical energy formula, subtract that 67,500 from our 367,500. So in that, we're going to get 300,000 joules. And as I look at your study guide answer key that I posted, I realize I mixed these two spots up. So I'll have to fix that. So then we can go and find our height. And this is when we're going to use that potential energy formula. So GP or PE is the same thing. Our mass of 1500 times 9.8 times our height. Our potential energy here was that 300,000. All right. And that's really sloppy written. So you would multiply that 1500 times the 9.8, then divide that 300,000 by it. You should get a height of 4.6. All right. So we've used our potential energy formula to solve for our height, and we got the potential energy originally from subtracting our kinetic from our mechanical. All right. So that finishes point B. For point C, we're given our height of 0, because as you can tell up here, it is sitting on the ground. So if we have a height of 0, when we plug that into our potential energy formula, anything multiplied by 0 is going to be 0. So our potential energy here is going to be 0, which means all of our mechanical energy is going to be kinetic energy. So that's going to be 367,500 joules. All right. Then we can use our kinetic energy formula to solve for velocity. So we're using that formula. We are going to plug everything in. You would solve for velocity. I'm out of space to work that out. but you should end up getting 22.14, right? Because you would have 1/2 times 1,500, then you would divide that 367,500 by that 750, and then make sure you take the square root of it, right? So 22.14 meters per second should be your answer. So for this problem on your test, you only have these three formulas that you're using, all right? You are either going to use them straightforward, solve for KE or solve for PE, or you're going to have those like how we got it in B and C. We got one of the pieces and subtracted to get the other one. And then you're going to use those formulas to solve for velocity or height. So when you see these roller coaster problems, these are the only formulas you need to utilize for those questions, right? Don't, be looking all over your formula sheet. That's all you need of these. All right. So I hope this video helped. I know it's kind of lengthy. Please let me know if you have questions.